evening and welcome to Hungary Report, starter of Public Media and One's foreign language news hour. I'm Csenga Gabriela Ibolya with today's news from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin. Let's begin. There are only a few countries in the world where the economy has grown while reducing carbon dioxide emissions. One of them is Hungary. President János Áder said in an interview given to public media. On climate change, the head of state said that long-term national consensus is needed to solve the problem.
It is all of our responsibility to preserve the created world. The President recalled the main message of his New Year's greeting in an interview with Kossuth Radio's Sunday newspaper. According to János Áder, it is not possible to tackle all the problems in one government term, so he called for a long-term national consensus. The President recalled that Hungary is one of the 21 countries of the world where the level of carbon dioxide emission decreased, while the gross domestic product increased and the economy expanded. He called the Paks nuclear power plant and its expansion one of the cornerstones of the results achieved. If the 2 new Paks nuclear power plant units are built and the other 4 are still in operation, more than 90% of the electricity generated in Hungary will be carbon-free, János Áder explained. He said that it was important to withdraw coal power plants from the energy sector. The President also welcomed the government's conscious responsibility in other areas for protecting the environment. The decision was made and published in the Hungarian official government gazette that by 2030, so in the next 10 years ahead, in the upcoming 10 years which has already begun, that only electric buses can be used for public transport in cities with more than 25,000 inhabitants, the President stated. János Áder made it clear to the Sunday program that the bus replacement program will be supported significantly by the Hungarian government.
The Hungarian Village program is continuing and will also expand. In addition to existing resources, small settlements will receive an additional 7.5 billion forints or 22.7 million euros. The Village Civil Fund will also be launched, with the state supporting villages through local NGOs. The goal remains the same: to stop the depopulation of small settlements and to improve the quality of life.
This family living in Adan made the decision not long ago to apply for the Family Home Creation Program after having 2 children. They are planning an attic conversion from the support. This way there will be 2 extra rooms for the kids, which will make family life much easier, this woman said. This is not the only support to help people in the countryside. Thanks to the Hungarian Village program, you can apply for several other sources. This is what the settlement of Somogy did. They replaced the heating system of the local community center in the fall. They won over 36,000 euros for this. The mayor says previously unsustainable conditions prevailed. The heating bill was huge, and last but not least, our heating was unreliable, and because we have a lot of programs, it matters what kind of conditions await visitors, the mayor of Adan said. Alpár Gyopáros, the government commissioner responsible for the development of modern settlements, announced that the program is expanding this year. He said the Small Settlement Civic Fund will be launched, which civil organizations in settlements with population below 5,000 can apply for. Over 50 million euros will be spent on event organization, real estate purchases and infrastructure developments. The Hungarian Village program will receive a total of 150 billion forints or 455 million euros. In addition, the government decided to allocate additional funds to additional areas, totaling 12.5 billion forints, which is almost 38 million euros.
For the 26th time, Thomas Beck was commemorated in Esztergom. The Memorial Day is organized each year by the Rudnai Sándor Cultural and City Conservation Association and the Rudnai Sándor Foundation. People commemorated the Archbishop, who died in martyrdom, with an ecumenical celebration of Mount St. Thomas in front of the Becket Chapel named after him. The event has also been regularly visited by the British ambassador to Budapest for many years. Ian Lindsay said that the relationship between Hungary and England has been ongoing for 900 years, with the strongest bond being the historical past and present based on Christianity.
This is a very strong connection between Britain and Hungary. Obviously today we remember St. Thomas of Becket, his martyrdom, But also this is a time for us to consider the position of Christians around the world. The persecution of Christians is something that is of huge concern to us in the United Kingdom, but also to our friends here in Hungary and in other countries. So what we're doing at the moment is discussing with the Hungarian government how Britain and Hungary can work together to alleviate the plight of persecuted Christians, particularly, for example, in the Middle East and in Africa.
Passengers flying on a plane to Paris were evacuated on emergency side at Debrecen airport. At first, the news was that the fire broke out in the engine of the machine, but later it turned out that the powder de-icing fluid was believed to be the smoke. Finally, the 180 passengers could only leave for Paris the next day.
This footage was taken by a passenger. He says there's a fire many times.
Fire.
The airplane malfunction occurred before the takeoff. Huge smoke appeared from the auxiliary power unit. Many thought a fire broke out. There were 180 passengers on board, and all of them were securely brought off the plane. Although an actual fire didn't break out, after troubleshooting, further examinations of the airplane was ordered for security reasons. During such an event, there is no reason to assess. The most important thing is the protection and safety of the flight crew and passengers. On this basis, I believe that the intervention was absolutely justified, the director-manager of Debrecen International Airport said. The airline provided accommodation and catering for Saturday evening for the unfortunate passengers since they could not depart that day to Paris. The passengers could fly from Debrecen to Paris with a different flight, but by then only 135 passengers got on board instead of the original 180.
There was real winter weather on the weekend, yet many people were still active on the last day of the winter break. Although there was stormy wind, it has not deterred anyone from getting a little exercise. It was snowing a little in Dobogókő, so many people sleighed in a 2 to 3 centimeter snow. It was possible to skate in Orfű as Lake Pécs was frozen.
On Sunday morning, 2 to 3 centimeters of snow fell in the Visegrad Mountains. The landscape turned white. This is great. There's finally some snow. We can have fun outside and not just sit inside, this local said. By early afternoon, the parking lots were full. There were plenty of people who wanted to spend a few hours outdoors. We never thought that the landscape would be so scenic and how nice the weather would be, this man said. It was the first time this year that people could ice skate in Orfű. Lake Pécs froze along its coast. People in the area couldn't wait to get on the ice. Despite the cold, windy weather, people moved out of their homes in Székesfehérvár. The adults were running, exercising, while the children played. We dressed warm in overalls as we needed the fresh air, this woman explained. At Balaton, strong hurricane force winds were blowing. Occasionally 60 to 70 kilometers per hour gushes were measured. Only a few ventured near the coast. Winds are forecast to moderate on Monday, and no significant snowfall is expected in the next few days. At night, however, it will get colder, and in some places it can be -8 to -10 degrees Celsius.
Those who visit the Villány wine region can also taste the best red wine in the country. This year, the 2015 vintage of Tifan's winery in Villány won the Hungarian Wine Grand Prix. The winery has already been ranked among the best in the 2017 vintage and has now won the grand prize. And one of the oldest preserved buildings of Lake Balaton is the Avasi Réhely Church in Szigliget. The building was built of stones from a Roman house. Already during the Turkish occupation, it began to decay. By the 18th century, it was almost completely forgotten. It was discovered only at the time of Szigliget's resettlement and is now considered a treasure of the settlement. And that's all for now, but don't forget you can catch Hungary Reports every night after 11 o'clock news and online as always. Do stick around and watch our German, Russian and Chinese language news. Thank you for watching and have a lovely evening.